Yo, what's up everybody? This is your boy Canadian back with another video. Today, I'm going to talk to you guys about my hometown team, the Toronto Raptors. And I'm going to show you some of the jerseys I have with me here and some of the jerseys I have back at home in Toronto as well. I will also show you guys some of the memorabilia and caps I have related to the Toronto Raptors. And I will go through the history of the Toronto Raptors while showing you guys all these pieces. So if you're interested in the Toronto Raptors and its team history, please stick around and we'll be right back. If you have watched my previous videos, then you know that my favorite team is the Toronto Raptors. It's also my hometown team because I grew up in Toronto and have watched the Raptors ever since I was little. So first, let's talk about jerseys, right? I have most of the jerseys the Toronto Raptors has worn throughout the years in my collection. Most of it here, some of it back in Toronto at home as well. So the Toronto Raptors started off in 1995 as a part of the NBA expansion into Canada. In the beginning, the team hosted a competition for fans to think of a team name. Because Jurassic Park was a major blockbuster around that time, the Toronto Raptors name was chosen based off the dinosaur, the Velociraptor. So the first jersey the Toronto Raptors has ever worn is this classic purple, red, and black color jersey, right? This jersey here obviously is not the original design jersey for the Toronto Raptors. This was made for Chinese New Year's a couple years ago, right? Instead of the original Raptors in English, this one has the Chinese writing instead. It says Meng Long, right? Which is Raptors in Chinese. But the rest of the design is exactly the same with the big Raptors logo on the front, right? The name on the top and the player number on the side here. It's a very cool looking jersey, right? Very, very classic. Those first few years, the Raptors, just like any other new franchise, didn't see much success at all. They had two pretty good players in the beginning, Damon Stoudemire, who was drafted in 1995, and Marcus Camby, who was drafted in 1996. Camby was drafted before players like Kobe, Steve Nash, Ray Allen, Stephon Marbury, just to name a few. That draft was loaded with crazy players, and Camby went second overall. Can you imagine if the Raptors drafted any of those other dudes? Oh my god. After struggling for the first 2 years, right, the Raptors drafted two of its biggest franchise stars in the next 2 years. In 1997, they drafted Tracy McGrady, and in 1998, they picked up Vince Carter. After drafting these future superstars, in 1999, the team switched to its next version of the jersey, right? They switched to this version, right? This one was a much simpler design with the city name Toronto on the front, the jersey number, and the player number and name on the back, right? They stuck around with the purple color, right? Purple mainly on the front, black mainly on the back. I have two of those jerseys in my collection. One is this Vince Carter one. The other one you can see back here, right? Number 42. This is Batir. Batir was one of the first Chinese-born basketball players to play in the NBA alongside Wang Zhizhi. Right? He played with the Toronto Raptors in 2003 to 2004, very briefly, after winning a championship ring with the San Antonio Spurs the season before. In the 1999 to 2000 season, the Raptors made the playoffs for the very first time in team history, but lost in the first round. Despite the loss, the future was looking very bright for the Raptors at the time, with future superstars Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady leading the team. However, after that season, Tracy McGrady decided to leave the team to have a bigger role and join the Orlando Magics. It was one of the biggest what-ifs in NBA history. Can you imagine if T-Mac and Vince Carter stayed together during their primes on the Toronto Raptors? The team would have had so much more success than it had before. Right? Even after both players retired, they were caught saying if they stayed together, they would have won multiple championships. The next 2 seasons, the Raptors also made the playoffs, despite losing Tracy McGrady. However, they couldn't make it past the second round. After the 2002 season, the Raptors did not make the playoffs for the next 4 years. During this time, Vince Carter had some disputes with team management and team leadership. It got to the point where Vince Carter wanted to be out of the Raptors and out of Toronto. In 2003, the Raptors picked up another future All-Star in Chris Bosh. That was also a very great draft class with LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, just to name a few, right? And Chris Bosh was picked up by the Toronto Raptors that year. After having lots of disagreements with the franchise, eventually in 2005, Vince Carter requested a trade off the team. This trade was terrible for the Raptors because Raptors got almost nothing in return. They got some role players and some draft picks. But they should have also had Alonzo Mourning. However, Alonzo Mourning refused to come to Toronto because at the time Toronto was still a very new, very small market team. And not many players wanted to come and play for us. So really, for a superstar like Vince Carter, Toronto got almost nothing in return. And for a few years after Vince Carter was gone, every time he came back to Toronto, all the fans booed him. Because in an interview, he said he didn't really play hard the last couple of years in Toronto. After Carter left for the New Jersey Nets, the Raptors changed its colors and jerseys. Instead of having purple as the main color, they made red as main color. Unfortunately, I don't have that jersey with me here in China. I do have it back in Canada, so I'll show you a picture right here of that jersey and what it looks like. This jersey I have is a Jalen Rose jersey. Right? Jalen Rose briefly played on the Raptors at the end of his career. But fun fact, when he was with the Raptors wearing this jersey, right, Kobe Bryant dropped 81 points on him, or on the team, that night. Once Vince Carter left, Bosh took over as the star of the team. He led the team into the playoffs in both the 06 and 07 season, but both lost in the first round. In the 08 season, the Raptors released a new alternate jersey, which made black the main color. Again, I'll show you guys a picture here, as I don't have it with me in person. The one I do have back in Canada is this one right here. It's a Jamario Moon jersey. For any true or die-hard Raptors fans, you should know who Jamario Moon is. He was a role player back in the 08 season, right, with the Raptors. He stuck around for a few years, but he was a very exciting player to watch. Not many people knew who he was, but a lot of the Toronto Raptors fans really liked him as a player because he was very exciting. Jamario Moon could dunk very well, and he had a very good vertical, and he participated in the dunk contest one year. He's very exciting, and I used to love watching him play. After being mediocre for a few years, in 2010, Chris Bosh decided to leave to the Toronto Raptors as well, and he joined LeBron James and Dwayne Wade in Miami. It's like history repeating itself, right? This left the team struggling and having to go into rebuild. The season prior to Bosh leaving the Toronto Raptors, they drafted DeMar DeRozan, who would eventually go on to become the franchise star alongside Kyle Lowry, who was also picked up in 2012 via a trade with Houston. In the past, right, the years before the 2010s, NBA teams usually would have only 2 to 3 jerseys in their rotation throughout the NBA season. They will have one for home games, one for away games, and usually another one for as an alternate jersey they can wear and choose from. But around the 2010s, teams started to get more jerseys, a more bigger variety of jerseys they can wear as part of their rotation throughout the season. In 2008, the Raptors released an all-green jersey to show love for St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day is a celebration from Ireland. So the main color for that celebration is green. Toronto had this jersey right here. Again, I have it back in Toronto now with me. And this is a Jose Calderon jersey. Jose Calderon was also a major player back when Vince Carter left and Chris Bosh took over. He helped the team and led the team to success for a while there. In 2009, the Raptors released a jersey to pay respect to the original Toronto basketball team back in 1946, called the Toronto Huskies. Another fun fact, the first ever NBA game to be played was between the Toronto Huskies and the New York Knicks in 1946. However, the Toronto Huskies team folded after that year, but the New York Knicks has lasted until now. That jersey I'll show you here, right, is mostly white with blue letters to show respect to the original team, which the main color was blue. In 2016, they used that jersey again. Again, picture here. Instead of white, this time it was blue as the main color and white as the secondary color. After Bosh left in 2010 and before Lowry and DeRozan became stars, the Raptors struggled for 3 years. Right? During this time, they lost so many games. They didn't make the playoffs, and it was just in a rebuilding process. In 2013, the Toronto Raptors began to see success again. And in 2015, the Raptors changed up its jersey once more, but this time, they also changed up the logo as well. And I'll put a picture of the new logo here. This time, instead of the big dinosaur, they made it much simpler with the big circle and the team name inside with the Raptor claw mark instead of the Raptor itself. So as a part of the rebranding process in 2015, the Toronto Raptors switched up its jerseys into these jerseys. A red version and a black version. Right. These jerseys were very similar to the ones before, except for a little bit of a change for the sides and a little change for the lettering, but not too much. 2015 was also the year that the Toronto Raptors and Toronto as a city hosted its very first NBA All-Star game. This was also the first NBA All-Star game to be held outside of the United States. I remember I was so excited for this because, again, at that time I was in Canada, right? And I was in Toronto walking around downtown during that weekend. Despite being like minus 30 to 40 degrees outside, which is crazy cold, there were so many fans just walking around. Everyone was enjoying that atmosphere, right? That first NBA All-Star game in Toronto, everyone was so excited. People were lining up outside stores to see different kind of NBA players, trying to get autographs. Oh, it was great. It was amazing. I'm also going to post pictures of the All-Star game jerseys from that year. Again, I have it back in Canada. I don't have it with me. It's too bad. In 2016, the Raptors paid tribute to Chinese New Year's and the Chinese community in Toronto by releasing a very special jersey. This one right here. Right? Instead of the English, it had the Chinese writing on the front. This said "duo lun duo," which is Toronto in Chinese, right? And the dragon design on the front as well. This jersey is one of my favorite all-time Raptors jerseys because of its unique Chinese writing and the fact that it was paying tribute to the Chinese community. I also have a cap to go along with this jersey as well, right? Same thing. Toronto, 多伦多. After rebranding the team in 2015, they also released a new jersey colorway, right? The jersey design itself is the same as the home and away version, but the colors are very different. Instead of having red and black or white, it had black and gold. This jersey and these colors were designed by Drake, a very famous Canadian rapper, who is now also the global ambassador for the Toronto Raptors. And ever since this jersey, the Toronto Raptors has been using this colorway until now, in many different kind of versions of its jerseys. In 2016, the Toronto Raptors drafted Pascal Siakam and signed Fred VanVleet, who are currently the best players on the team. During the years from 2015 to 2018, right, the teams was able to make the playoffs consistently, but never was able to make it past the second round. They were always defeated by LeBron James, and it was starting to become a problem. So the 2018-2019 offseason, the Toronto Raptors traded away DeMar DeRozan. They traded DeMar for Kawhi Leonard, from the Spurs. This trade was devastating for a lot of Toronto fans like myself because DeMar was such a loyal player. He stuck around in Toronto despite all the hardship. And to see the Toronto Raptors just trading away him like that, it was very heartbreaking. During the 2019 season, the Raptors started to experiment with different jersey designs. These new jerseys were very unique, right? Looks like these, right? One is red and white, the other one is black and gold, right? Both has the arrow pointing up and north on the front. The north represents where Toronto is located compared to the rest of the NBA teams, right? We are the Great White North. That's why the slogan for the Toronto Raptors now is called We the North. So they put North in the front of the jerseys. So after getting Kawhi Leonard for the 2018-2019 season, the Raptors went on a very successful playoff run to the point where we actually won the NBA championship. This was the first NBA championship to be won by a team outside of America, and obviously the first one the Toronto Raptors has ever won. At that time, I was in China already, so I had to wake up very early in the morning to watch those playoff games because of the 12-hour difference, right? Time difference. I remember watching every single playoff game on my little phone at the time, right? And when the finals game 6, the buzzer went off and I realized, oh my god, the Toronto Raptors actually won the championship. I jumped out of my bed, started screaming, right? And tears came from my eyes. I started video chatting all my friends back in Toronto. Oh, that was a great moment. I never thought I would ever witness Toronto winning an NBA championship in my life. After the Toronto Raptors won that championship, I went online and bought so many memorabilia to remember this championship. So I'll show you guys some of the memorabilia I have collected due to that championship, right? Some of the rings I have, right? The official Raptors championship ring. Obviously, I have the replica version, the real version you cannot get, and 3 concept rings as well. Also, some caps and pictures related to that championship season. So the first things we'll take a look at are these replica rings. All right, there are 4 of them in my collection. 3 of them were concept designs, and 1 of them is the official ring itself. So let's take a look at these concept rings first, right? This one, can you see very nicely? Yeah, look at that, right? Has the Raptors logo on the front, right? All these diamonds. And the 2019 alongside the Warriors, right? Who was the team that we defeated to win the championship. And on this side, it has the player name, the record of the team, right? And the NBA logo. The second ring, again, another concept ring. Same thing, right? That one was gold, this one's silver with the Toronto Raptors logo, right? It says World Champions and lots of diamonds, right? Again, the player name on the side with the trophy and Raptors versus Warriors in 2019, 4-2 win in the finals. The third one's very unique, however, right? Look at that. This one has the Raptors claw around the Raptors logo with the red rubies and the diamonds around it. Also, the claw on the side with the player name and the trophy and the year on this side as well. Now, let's look at the official ring that was given to the players. This one, in my opinion, looks much better than those 3 concept rings. This ring was the largest championship ring that the NBA has ever released. On the front, it has the north and the arrow pointing up with the Toronto skyline on the front. Right? Each player's name and number on the side, and everyone on the team, their numbers as well. I'm not sure if you can see this clearly. It's very small. Right next to the red rubies, you'll see some numbers. Those are the numbers of each player that was on the championship team. So this ring was made with 74 diamonds to represent all the wins the Raptors had that championship season. Right? On the inside, you see that maple leaf that shows Canada, right? And all the records for the playoffs. each round, and the champions on the inside. Other than the rings, I have some caps from that year as well. This first one I'll show you, right? Toronto Raptors World Champion, right? Made by New Era, right? It's a snapback. Very cool design, right? Represents that championship year. The second cap I have is the official championship cap that the players got when they won the championship, right? It has the big champions on the front, NBA 2019, the Raptors logo, right? The trophy on the side, and again, made by New Era, right? NBA logo on the back here, as you can see, right? Very cool looking cap. The third one I'll show you is this one, right? Red and black with a gold trophy and the Raptors logo in the middle. Very unique design. Again, same thing, made by New Era, right? This design was very cool, especially with that big logo on the front. After that season, Kawhi Leonard decided to leave the Raptors and sign with the Clippers. That was very difficult for a Toronto fan to accept, because we traded away DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi Leonard just for 1 year. I guess winning a championship was worth it, but it was still very hard to see that happen. And since he left the Toronto Raptors, Toronto has not had that much success since, right? It has made the playoffs, but not to that extent, not to the NBA Finals. During the 2020 to 2021 season, the Toronto Raptors had to play in Tampa Bay, Florida that year due to COVID and Canada and America having restrictions at the border. So because of that, some fans made a concept jersey for the Toronto Raptors for that 1 year in Tampa Bay, right? I had it made because it was such a unique jersey. It was kind of funny to see this jersey as well. So here it is, right? This jersey has the big Tampa on the front instead of Toronto to show the city that it was in. And it has the Raptor on vacation, right? You see the dinosaurs wearing Hawaiian shirts, wearing shades like he's at the beach. Huh. And the colors, instead of red and black, it was pink and blue, right? Such a crazy jersey. I really wish they actually played in this jersey that year. It's actually very, very unique. Number 33, let's talk about it, is Gary Trent Jr., right? He was traded to the Raptors that season for Norman Powell from the Trailblazers, and he actually had a really good season. So unfortunately, Raptors did not make the playoffs last season. And this season right now, as we're speaking, they're number 7 in the Eastern Conference, right? Yeah, it's been a little bit of a struggle these last couple years, but the future is bright for the Raptors. They have young stars like Scotty Barnes, who they just recently drafted past summer, and Gary Trent Jr., another up-and-coming star. And they have veterans like Van Vliet and Siakam. So I do believe the Toronto Raptors will be back in the playoffs very, very soon, along with all these young stars and veterans on the team. So thank you very much for watching my video today. As I talked to you guys about the Raptors, my hometown team, right? Showed you guys some pieces of my jersey collection, some memorabilia, right? And talked about the Raptors' history as a franchise. This was quite a long video, so if you stuck around until the end, you are the real MVP. I really appreciate you. If you like content like this, please consider clicking that subscribe button and that like button to show support for me. All right. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Before I let you guys go, I just wanted to remind you that I have a second video on my channel that showcases all the other jerseys I did not show on this video due to the length of this video. So if you're interested in the other jerseys I have in my collection, please take a look at the other video, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.